Now, business applications, to me, is such an important category because whenever I go to anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world, the one thing that I have the real privilege of is to meet with developers, independent software developers, who are building business applications. This category is the lifeblood of digital skills and software jobs all over the world.
This is the Power Platform Daily Brief from CRM Audio for Tuesday, May 6, 2019. What you need to know about the Power Platform today in 10 minutes or less. I'm Brad Koontz. And kicking us off today was the Build Conference keynote from Satya Nadella. Build is the developers conference, and it takes place in Seattle this week. We've got a live report from Joel Lindstrom coming up in a little bit. One of the things I think that really stands out about the keynote is really the attention that Dynamics and the Power Platform are getting now from Microsoft. As you know, this has not always been the case, but I think in the new era at Microsoft, it's getting the attention really from the highest levels. Here's one more highlight from yesterday's keynote.
You can rely on the common data model, which is a bootstrap for all of the business process automation. To that, you can add your own entities, your own data. On top of that, you have the Power Platform that you can embed inside your own application. That means it's the workflow engine, it's the Power Apps Forms engine, as well as Power BI, which is the analytics engine. So any SaaS application can use the same extensibility framework and then use Dynamics 365's modular architecture as you need.
Joel Lindstrom, thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, Brad, how you doing?
Doing good. I know it's early there in Seattle, but you're up and at 'em, and thanks for getting on with us and giving us an on-the-ground report about what's going on there.
Yeah, thanks. It's been a good conference. It's interesting because I'm not a developer. I never claim to be one anyway. And so this is a developer conference. So, I was curious, how much is the content going to be relevant to me? But surprisingly, a lot of it is. The Power Platform is really being pushed as a developer tool. I think maybe Microsoft went a little bit too far with the citizen developer messaging, and that's there. But maybe some developers ignored it because they thought it was a toy or not a real developer tool. They're really trying to position Power Platform as the extensibility option for Microsoft 365. So whether you're using Azure or you're using Dynamics or whatever you're using, it's the option to extend that beyond that, both Flow and Flow, Power Apps, and Power BI.
Yeah, and I think in the clip that we just heard, Satya was saying the exact same thing, that really this is the extendability tool to all of those, enterprise business applications that folks have to use anyway. So a couple of interesting numbers that came out yesterday. I think that 90% of the Fortune 500 use Dynamics 365 or the Power Platform. I thought that was an interesting stat.
Yeah, we were talking about that at dinner last night. I met up with David Yak and Sarah Jelinek, two MVPs, and I'm wondering how they come up with that statistic. And no, they didn't show the actual details, but I'm imagining that you're including not just Dynamics Online. You're probably counting anybody who has CRM on premises as well, and you're probably also including Business Central and Power BI and Flow and Power Apps, and everybody out there seems like these days has somebody that uses Power BI for something. So, there's probably a large mix of products in there. But yeah, that's a pretty impressive stat, and kind of, I think, got everybody's attention. And also, he said that it's been completely refactored on Azure, which, it's always used pieces on Azure for online, but the fact that the back end is now SQL Azure and it's completely Azure, that I think gets some respect with Azure developers.
And it sounded like he was playing to folks who understand SQL development as well, and I really liked that piece of his keynote. I thought it was great, and I think that 90% number is probably a number we're going to hear a lot from sales and marketing teams in the coming years. So.
Yeah, there was a 95% too somewhere. I don't know what that was though. I have to write that one down. But I think, I think that was good. Of course, keynotes are always highly scripted, and any demo they go through, I'm sure has been rehearsed many times. That's why when something doesn't work, like it was in Scott Hanselman's session yesterday, and the screen share wasn't working, and that's in some ways that's reassuring to me, so that when I have a problem like that when I'm presenting, knowing that the people who do it a lot more than I do and on larger scales also have problems with that kind of thing.
And then, so tell us about the moon landing yesterday. Speaking of
moon landing, so the I think it was the creative director from Industrial Light and Magic was there, and he and somebody from Microsoft got up on the stage with HoloLens 2s on, and they said they were going to recreate the moon landing using HoloLens 2, and then the demo didn't work, and they just kind of left the stage. So it was funny. You saw some funny memes online about the moon landing, and the demo didn't work because the moon landing was faked and everything. So it was funny.
Yeah, you can see the conspiracy theorists running towards that one. That's great.
Yeah, I said HoloLens 2, the demo doesn't work and it makes you look like a dork.
So a couple of announcements yesterday. I think some of them for us probably were a couple of weeks of things that we already knew. But the Power Apps Ethereum connector, did we learn any more about that yesterday?
I didn't hear anything more about that. I did go to Goog's session, which was really interesting because it was telling the full story of the Power Platform, including Power BI and Flow, and he showed the virtual agent and building a virtual agent for healthcare, and then having it extended with Flow. So that was interesting, and highlighted some ISVs who are doing things like Hands-Free Health, who's have things, for example, like an Alexa type device for people managing their prescriptions, and some other things, some of which was using Power Apps, some of which was using Dynamics. And it's interesting. I know it's hard to show that whole story, because if you step off the path in any one direction, you can get really deep really fast. And he and the other people presenting with him did a really good job. And it was cool to me, since I hadn't been at the MVP Summit this year, to see how the virtual agent builder is coming along, because it's pretty impressive.
That's great. Joel Lindstrom, thank you very much for your time today. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Thanks.
Thanks.
That's all for today's Power Platform Daily Brief. Power on.